Montreal has moved impressively, and you know in championship games how important it is to get that jump early. There's the Alouette offensive line. Doug Smith, the veteran, number 53, centers it.
And they offered me a contract, and I didn't think about it. I went there not knowing the rules, that there was only so many Americans and only so many Americans at my position. And I just said, wow, opportunity to play pro ball, why not? I was 19 years old, so I signed and went up to Canada with the Montreal, at the time, Alouettes.
Go far on the passing game to Tilio. Flag is thrown as David Green cuts right and gets up in.
When I got the offer to go to Montreal, I had to make that decision which way I was going to go, and I chose the path of stay. You know, if I had that, here's an opportunity to stay in football, and if I make it, I make it. If I don't do it, I always come back down here. So I felt I had nothing to lose to try it.
Well, it was Larry Fold, the left offensive tackle, that got tied up with Wayne Smith, and they were fighting up there on the offensive defensive line.
Well, he doesn't feel too keen about the idea of walking on that just yet. Here he goes. Very gingerly.
You can see Wayne Smith and Fold fighting here.
And I resorted to that in Montreal. Wow. There we go. Why not, right?
Juggle that defensive line, Jerry D'Attilio, with all kinds of time there to figure his next play on 2nd and 5 from the Hamilton 52. Montreal leads 1-0. 6 minutes gone.
The line coach at Montreal took a real liking of me, and they kept me around. So it worked out.
Well, busy is Fred Biletnikoff. Into the jar, out of the legs.
He'd be a great short order cook with all that grease he puts on.
Yeah, my rookie year, got to start in the Grey Cup, and I played against Dr. Death. Dave Fennell was his name.
22 Grey Cup right here. We now have a minute of playing time remaining. And
CFL football was a blast. I really enjoyed it.
Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell so you never miss an update.
I'm going to steal a line from Jimmy Valiant real quick on our next guy here.
Just be cool, baby. Lay back. Don't jump out of them pantyhose and dig it, daddy.
He first went to Penn State, and like Jimmy Valiant used to say, he went to Penn State, and I went to State Penn, daddy.
Woo! Musty, baby, musty.
Number 6 is going to be Lex Luger.
Joe Paterno came on the signing date, night before signing date, to my high school basketball game in Orchard Park. Came back to the house, and as he was leaving, my mom and dad hadn't asked him for a picture or anything, so he was trying to be nice. Would you guys want a picture or anything? And mom and dad were, well, no, that's okay, because my mom and dad being musical and everything, they didn't really think it was that big a deal to have Joe Paterno in the house because they weren't sports orientated. So I could see he was kind of almost bewildered. Probably the first time he'd been in a recruit's home, and the parents said we didn't want to get the big photo op.
He first started off at Penn State, but he ended up at the University of Miami. The U, for all you fans out there, the U, whether you like him or whether you hate him, the Miami Hurricanes.
In college, I played with Jim, and he had just come down there at Miami. And then I played against him actually in the United States Football League.
But he played for the Packers, NFL, then a couple teams like in the USL, like the Showboats out of Memphis, the Jacksonville Bulls, and then I think around the time the Tampa Bay Bandits, and that's who Ron Simmons played for as well, the Tampa Bay Bandits. And so Lex Luger, man, the total package. Former football player turned professional wrestler and done quite well for himself. What do you say, Jeremy?
I have trouble remembering. Now, was he playing football before or after he was fighting with Superman?
Oh, no doubt. Well, I got my first name from the Superman comic books, Lex Luthor. I was such a big fan of Superman comic books.
Wait, that's another guy. Sorry, no, never mind. That was Lex Luthor. Forget it. I even brought that up.
Why, it's the most brilliantly diabolical leader of our time, surrounding himself with total nincompoop.
Okay, so Lex Luger looked amazing. He had a tendency to, not quite half-ass it, but he didn't go all in all the time, and yet it still looked good when he did it. He was a fucking powerhouse. He had a body like only a handful of other wrestlers had at the time.
My thoughts on him has always been the same. Lex, he was a hard worker as far as, did a lot of things in and out of the ring to make him who he was. He worked hard in the gym. always worked real professionally at the rings and stuff. My opinion, I think he was a little robotic, that kept him from, but he was as good a spot as anybody ever been in the business. He was real honest about, he didn't really care for the fans. He didn't really care for a lot of people, probably didn't care for me. He just really liked himself, and he was upfront about that. So when someone's like that and upfront about it, you don't have a problem with it. It'd be when they're saying, hey, I'm one of the boys, and you're not one of the boys. And Lex, like myself sometimes, rode by himself.
I know he gets kind of shit on in reverse. I don't think he was as bad as some people say he was. I don't think he was ever as great as we were told he was. But you know what? He was pretty fucking entertaining to watch in the ring. His clothesline looked like it had power. He could lift anybody from a deadlift position. I don't know what else a guy needs to be able to do,
Yeah. Well, I think he done quite well for himself coming from the football background, because I know, for a fact that was his first love.
Lex was never a wrestling fan. I sat next to him one time on a plane. We were in first class. He got a first class ticket, and I used my frequent flyer $30 upgrade. And we're sitting next to each other, and just for conversation, I said, Package, I said, you used to play football in Memphis. Did you ever watch the Memphis wrestling show? And he said, well, it used to be on, when we'd come back from practice on Saturday morning, but I never watched wrestling. He didn't realize how he came off sometimes to some people. He was a very educated guy, and the total package. He was educated. He had the body and the genetics and everything. He didn't realize that he came off some like superior sometimes. Because I said, well, what would you have done, just for fun and giggles? I said, what would you have done if you'd had to work in Memphis for, at that time, the late 80s? It was, guys were making $300 a week there. The big money had been previously. And he said, I wouldn't have done that. Well, I understood, and I didn't have a problem with it, but a lot of times he would say, well, I wouldn't have done that. Well, it's to a guy who was doing that. Well, why are you fucking better than me? So I think the thing that hurt Lex in the business was that he was so intelligent and so good looking, and had a big contract, the first big contract that Crockett ever gave out. He came off as aloof to the people, and like he really didn't mean what he was saying.
Honestly, I have not read his book. Someone did tell me several things about it. Most of it was about his love for football and about his life and everything. I will say this: before signing with WCW, Lex Luger was nothing but kind to me. And the couple of times I was backstage negotiating, talking, or what have you, before I even came into the territory or company at that point, whatever you want to call it. And then once I was there, no matter where I saw him at, Lex was very kind to me. And again, I go by one of those things where, I go by how someone treats me, but maybe that's coming back to me as to how I treat people as well. With that said, it's been about a year since I've seen Lex. And once again, as soon as I made eye contact, I was on a panel for Smoky Mountain Wrestling down at the WrestleCade. As soon as I made eye contact when it was over, I walked right up to him. We started just talking, and it was a real pleasure to see him. And he told me, his son was there running one of the cameras for the video they were shooting that day. And so here it is several years later since I've seen him. And, we still just kind of one of those things that he, being at superstar status, if you will, and I've heard different things. I think Lex was just very professional and about his business. You know what I'm saying? I don't think that was just Lex. That was his personality.
It never became personal with me. I just had a job to do. And everybody's personalities were different. Some guys realized that they were in the right place at the right time and were thankful for the opportunity that they had. Other guys maybe had an inflated sense of their self-worth, and I had to deal with both sides to accomplish what I needed to get accomplished. And Lex was Lex. And I got along with him, accomplished, it never became personal. And now, I see Lex from somebody who had an unbelievable body, now being physically reduced to being in a wheelchair, and it's sad. And I get absolutely no personal satisfaction from that.
He might have got pushed a little bit back in the day really quick before he was ready for that big push, but it would have been hard for him not to get that push with that body at that time, and also just the way business was going at that time. And I think it really panned out well for him at one point, for him to be a former professional football player and to take it into the world of professional wrestling. And that's kind of what our show's about. And again, we decided early on we're not going to shit on anyone, so I certainly don't have a reason to shit on him. I just, as you just said, some people maybe have this misconception about him or whatever. I don't know why, because I know I never did, and that's what I have no place to judge another man anyway, but he was always so nice to me and so respectful, and I think it was because he knew I knew how to work. I really do, and I think he had respect for that, because I do think he did respect the business, contrary to what some people may say or believe. But I'm not one of those people. I'm one of those people that said, fuck, Lex Luger was a total package.
Order Pin Me, Pay Me, Have Boots Will Travel by professional wrestler Bobby Blaze Smedley. Go to Amazon.com and get your copy now. It's a powerful and insightful 5-star memoir available to download or in paperback print editions.
Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell so you never miss an update.